All right. Somebody needs to say this, and I volunteer to say it. It's time for somebody to say this. And I'm going to ask you in advance, go ahead and pray for me. But I want to talk to you today about excellence. I want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys in that game last night. I want to talk about Deion Sanders. I want to talk about something Shannon Sharp shared recently. And I want to talk about some former NFL coaches who I believe operated in excellence. For those who don't know me, I am obviously called to the ministry. But if I wasn't called to the ministry, I would be coaching. And since I'm not allowed to coach because I am called to the ministry, I get to coach from the sidelines. So I watch things and I'm always thinking like a coach, right? I've been a Dallas Cowboy fan since the early 70s. So I'm a lifelong Dallas Cowboy fan. That's never going to change. But that does not preclude me from giving my honest assessment about my own team. That game that I watched last night between the Dallas Cowboys and the Los Angeles Chargers, that was garbage. I know we won, but when I think about excellence, what I saw last night was unacceptable. Yes, we won, and it pained me to watch the Dallas Cowboys celebrating that win like they had just won the Super Bowl when they played horribly. And the only reason they won is because the Chargers played even worse than them. We are in the second quarter of this NFL season, and both of those teams look like preseason teams. There were a ridiculous amount of penalties that should not be happening. There was a lot of sloppy football, and both of those teams, in my opinion, they mirror their coaches' attitude. They mirror their coach's personality, if you will. And that's why I know that neither one of those teams, unless something drastically changes, will never win a Super Bowl. They're just not good enough because they're okay with mediocrity. Let me get to Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp shared recently that he had, back in 1995, first game of the season, he had a career day. He went off. And he said his coach, Mike Shanahan, had been riding him because of all the mistakes he had been making. So the trainer comes to him and said, "Hey, Shannon, after the game, coach wants to see you." So he's thinking, oh, well, coach is going to praise me because I just had a career game. He's going to praise me about all the great things that I did in this game. So the coach brings him in there and puts on the film of the game and shows him all of his mistakes. So at his surprise, he was like, what in the world is going on? In his mind, he's thinking he should be praising me because of all the good things I did. But coach said to him, Coach Mike Shanahan, because he is a coach of excellence, he said, "Shannon, if we had lost that game, I would still be showing you all of your mistakes because those mistakes may have cost us the game. So simply because we won, that does not change the fact that those mistakes were still there. If we're going to be a Super Bowl contending team, we got to operate at our best at all times. So I'm showing you these mistakes not because I'm trying to make you feel bad, not because I don't want to celebrate your the good things you've done. I want to show you these things because I want you to never settle with winning, with simply winning, because there is a such thing as a good win and a bad win, and there is a such thing as a bad loss and a good loss. I know some people will say, oh, win is a win. Not if you're striving for excellence. No, it is not. Because remember, people of excellence are not really competing against their opponent. They're actually competing against themselves. And mediocre people are always competing against their opponent. And with that said, when they win, no matter how bad they played, they're happy with the win, which means they don't clean up nothing that they've done wrong. And that's why winning sometimes can be deceiving for people who are mediocre. But for people of excellence, whether we win or lose, if we didn't play well, it's not good for us or it's not good enough. I'm not talking about perfection here. I'm talking about excellence. Do your best. Let me switch to Coach Prime. There are a lot of people who think that Deion Sanders is upset with his team because the players are not as good as he was. That is absolutely not his problem at all. He is a man of excellence. And all he said over and over to his players, to the media, and anyone who's listening, I want them to give me their best. And if their best is not good enough to result in a win, then he's perfectly fine with that. People who are excellent people, we don't expect people to be great all the time. What we expect them to do is to give us their best all the time. And if the other team is just better than you and you gave your best, I can handle a loss. I can't even handle a win if you didn't give me your best. And that's what Coach Prime is all about. When I think about my Dallas Cowboys and I think about when we had Jimmy Johnson, it wasn't a coincidence that we won 3 Super Bowls as a part of the team that he established. I know the third one was won by a coach that was brought in, but it was still Jimmy Johnson's team. I think about Bill Parcells. I think about Mike Shanahan that I just shared with you. I think about all the coaches that I believe were excellent coaches. That's why they all won Super Bowls, is because they set a standard and they did not allow their players to play mediocre or subpar. Whether you won or lost, the coaches were going to get on you because they know that you didn't give them their best. That Cowboy team that I watched last night, that is not good enough. I'm sorry. Y'all can celebrate the win all you want. That team is not good enough to win a Super Bowl. Excuse me for getting on my soapbox, but I can't stand when people don't give their best and they got the nerve to celebrate mediocrity simply because they won. You didn't win anything until you win the Super Bowl. Can everybody understand what I'm saying? Okay, again, like I said, pray for me. This needed to be said, and I volunteered to say it. Have a blessed day.